my name is Tyriece Simon,
I'm Elijah Jones.
and this is MMA Renegade Episode 6. How you doing, Elijah?
Episode 6. You ever seen in Naruto when it like show all the tail beasts and the six is just like bam?
Oh, come on now. You know I'm a huge Naruto fan.
Hey, who isn't?
Yeah.
But I'm good.
How
How are you, man? Listen, man. I'm here. I'm all right. I'm good. It's a good Sunday. Haven't done much. Probably should be doing more, but the chances of that happening are very slim. What about you?
Dude, you've been through a lot, man. You had a couple of tests. Last week you had an exam, another one.
Brother. And next week my professor's like, you know what? Quiz. And I'm like, stop.
Listen, man. It's that college life.
You too, though. You've been working. You've been out here putting in hours of the day. No, thank you.
Yeah, man. It's you know what? I'll say before we start the show. It's been a fun ride. This is our 6th episode.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. I feel we're getting our stride a little bit. We're getting a couple of people watching. A couple of comments here and there. And I think we'll keep growing. I got an announcement probably next week of the future of this show and other shows that we're doing on this channel. Not anything bad, but a lot of good things and a lot of good projects I'm working on.
Nice.
So, man, yesterday.
Was a big day. It was very. I remember getting back from class and I was able to catch the last fight for UFC Copenhagen, which actually Copenhagen is one of the places I actually want to visit.
Really?
Like Copenhagen, yeah, man. Copenhagen's a big place, man. I heard it's pretty good out there. Not great, but I heard it's a very interesting place. So I would be willing to travel and go out there. But UFC Copenhagen, I mean, main event, Jared Cannonier versus help me out here.
Jack Hermanson.
The Joker. Joker Hermanson.
How poetic. How poetic. The week of the Joker comes out, the Joker fights on Start.
That was that's the universe works in mysterious ways. I'll give it that. But it was a good card. It was a decent card. Good card, solid card. I thought the fights were pretty good actually. It's very competitive. I don't know. I caught a few fights, not all of them, but the fights that I did watch were they were very interesting. And then these were guys who aren't necessarily ranked, but then they're just like not everybody, but the guys that I fought actually were ranked. Actually, sorry, not that I fought, but the guys that I saw fighting were ranked here and there. So it was very interesting to watch that card. But the main event, wow, did not see that. I mean, I saw it coming, but I didn't know how and what round. And that's the issue.
Interesting. I didn't see it coming at all.
Really? No. I was wondering. And of course, if anyone doesn't know, we had Jared Cannonier, TKO, Jack Hermanson.
Yes.
Well, what was interesting, because I had watched leading up to this fight, I had watched UFC Dan Hardy, the analysis, break down this fight. And he does that per every main event card. He usually breaks it down. Just like the strengths and weaknesses, well, mostly the strengths actually, and the high points of most of the main event fighters. Now, when he was going over this, he talked about Jared Cannonier being composed, he stalks you, but he's very aware. He has good wrestling defense, but he has the power that he had at heavyweight stayed with him to light heavyweight, and then brought down to middleweight. And that was one of the biggest things I was interested in seeing. And after I actually watched the fight where Jared Cannonier fought Silva, and it just, although Silva is great, it just seemed like the power of Cannonier, whether a punch or a kick, it just was there.
Yeah.
So I had Cannonier winning. I just didn't know how. Not how. Sorry, it was mostly going to be knockout. Obviously, I didn't know what round it was going to be. I didn't know if Hermanson was going to make it a war off the back, which he tried, or if it was just going to be slow and picking up until we get to the championship rounds, which are like the dogfight rounds. I don't know. Who you had Hermanson win? Yeah, Hermanson winning this one.
I did actually. I did. I thought he was going to be able to take Cannonier down and control him there, which he didn't. And we're gonna talk about all that in a second. But let me just go back, take 2 steps back, and say, I thought the card overall was good, like you said. I thought there was a lot of not a lot of big names, but
Mhm.
names that you could probably see in the future that we're going to talk about later on as well. Just looking at the attendance was 12,767, so it was sold out crowd, and the gate was 1.6 million, so they did pretty well.
They
So
recouped.
yeah, so not bad at all. Performance of the night goes to Jared Cannonier, Oven Prue, John Phillips, and Jack Shore.
Respect.
50,
Respect. Those guys all deserved it. Yeah.
50 G's. So
50
I,
G's,
I
baby.
I thought it was a great card. I thought
It's a
again,
good. It's a good
like I
card.
said, there's a lot of names that on the undercard. You had Lando Benata versus Mark Casey on the undercard.
Yeah, man. That's like wow. I
Yeah,
mean, those are two great fighters in the lightweight division, you know?
and that was the undercard.
And that's
You know,
it was I was very surprised about that.
yeah, but it was a lot of names that again you'll probably see in the future, and yeah, I thought it was if you're looking for a great night to watch, talent and rising prospects, this is the one for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, you're right. I think this was you saw a lot of natives, of course, and then you also saw a lot of people who were just willing to go out there and make a name for themselves. So that's what's important about cards that are out of the US, I think.
It's
I
a
think
good
this is
one.
what we talked about with UFC in China, and with Wei Li Zhang when she
Yep.
when she fought and got her belt. It's when you have these, UFC is no longer just the sport that's favored here; it's an international sport, and you have the
Yep.
international fight fans who love this shit. So I think again, when the UFC takes the chance and the opportunity to go to other countries and other places to do these like events or fight nights, I think it ends up working out for everybody. You get more fans. You get a better pool of fighters. You're able to get obviously more money, but you're
Right.
able to spread the reach of the UFC. So again, we've always talked about this and touched on this. The UFC
Yeah.
going international and having these cards overseas. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time they went to Denmark too.
Is it? It
Yeah, I think
probably
so.
is. It
I think
probably
so.
is.
I think so. So that would explain the huge gate and the sold out crowd.
Yeah.
Because Jared Cannonier and Jack Hermanson aren't big names that you would just see on a billing and say, oh, I gotta go see that fight. Or I gotta go watch that fight, pay to go see that fight. So
Yeah.
them being the first time in Copenhagen, Denmark, and Jack Hermanson being from that area
Yep.
makes perfect sense.
It made sense. This card came together well. I think they had good fighters on it. Very solid card. Solid card.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. All right, so let's start from the main event and work our way down. How's that sound?
Works for me.
All right, so like you said, Jared Cannonier wins via TKO in the round two.
In second round, yeah.
You had Jared Cannonier winning this fight. I didn't. I thought Jack Hermanson was going to be able to take Cannonier down and
Yeah.
control him there like he did to I believe Souza and
Hmm.
these other people, and he wasn't able to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what was interesting about the first round was the stand up, right? And when it
Right,
came to the stand up, you saw Hermanson pushing forward, but then you saw Cannonier pushing him back. So I was already like, oh, okay, cool. Like he's used to going backwards. He does these little short punches when he's going backwards in this fight with Jacare. We see him backpedaling, and it's not an issue for him. But when
right,
he tried to go for more takedowns instead of working his jab and doing it, he started off good with the jab and good with the kicks. But when he tried to go for the first takedown and didn't get it, he kept trying and trying and trying it. And it was very interesting that he didn't seem to mix it up. I was very confused by that. But I think if that was the game plan that he had, if that was the case, I think it went out the window when he realized that Cannonier had such a great wrestling defense. I mean, he got
yeah.
him down at one point. He got him down at one point, but he was able to escape. And I was like, wow. I didn't know. I didn't think. I mean, you never really see Jared Cannonier's wrestling defense on display a lot
No,
because
not at
he
all.
was he's in bigger weight divisions. And
Mhm.
again, when you get to the smaller weight divisions, you do have these guys who will maul you, but you also have these strikers, and there's strikers at light heavyweight and heavyweight, but it's just a little bit different because the guys at heavyweight can end you with one punch. Guys at light heavyweight can end you with one punch. The guys at middleweight can end you with one punch, jujitsu, or a combination of the above. So I thought that was interesting. And shout out to Jack Hermanson because I think he beat Jacare, which is like a tough
Not easy to get
fight.
at all.
No,
Not an
I
easy
don't think.
fight at all.
I don't think. I don't think half the division. If I'm being honest with you, can do it. Like truth be told, I don't. I really don't think half the division. You had Kelvin Gastelum was hit a touch and go in that fight. You
Yeah.
had Derek Brunson. Didn't he fight Jacare? Derek Brunson lost to Jacare. Chris
I believe
Weidman
so.
lost to
Yes.
Jacare. So
Yes, he did.
Jacare is not. He's no slouch for the middleweight division. But going
I
back
think he
to
even make
it.
a point. Romero even close got an edge one out against Jacare too.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It's not an easy fight fighting Jacare. But back
No.
to the main point. I just want to say Cannonier. I had him winning because again, I had watched that fight with Anderson Silva, and it just
Mm.
something like he's calm, he's collected, he's throwing the proper shots. I think he moved to a new training facility in Texas or whatever. I think he trains at the same place as Bendo. So
Yes.
and he changed. He's compared to how big he was to how small he is now, but compact and can still have that power. It's a dangerous man. It's a very dangerous man. I saw it too, though. That first round, it looked like Hermanson after like the third takedown try and he stuffed it. It just seemed like Hermanson didn't have anything left.
Yeah. So Hermanson goes 1 for 6 takedowns in the first round.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just was very confused as to what because Hermanson's got good stand up. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He's got really good stand up. So I'm surprised he kept trying to go for the takedown.
And I thought he did pretty well. I thought early on, and I'll tell you about the stats in a second. But early on, to me, it was Jared Cannonier, methodical, taking his time. He wasn't rushing anything. He wasn't
Wasn't
going.
rushing.
Jack Hermanson, on the other hand, came out throwing leg kicks strong. He was throwing jabs to the
Strong.
head,
Oh,
jabs to the head, knees to
yo.
the body. He was doing very
Yeah.
well.
Very well.
He did pretty well. Leg kicks of his own.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
he got for the takedown, got the back position, took him down, and got his back at one point. But again, Jared Cannonier, I think one thing he's shown in this fight is that you can't just take him down. Could be
You
more than
can't.
that.
You can't. You gotta. If you take him down, you're right. You gotta. Like John Jones said with Gustafson, the way to beat him is to take him down and keep him there.
Right.
You're right. I 100% agree with that because when he took him down, it just didn't seem like there was anything next.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Pretty
agree.
good. Pretty good. Very, very good analysis there, my friend.
And it wasn't even like and to your point about Jared Cannonier's calmness, and that was one of the things that all stuck out to me was his takedown defense and his patience and his relax.
Mm-hmm. We're going in and out.
Oh yeah, your mic went off for a second.
Oh, sorry. It's this new wire. I can't. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, Anyway,
Sorry, my wire is new. Sorry, it's like an old wire. I need to find it.
that's fine. So anyway, Jared Cannonier, his calm, his poise on the ground didn't look out of place. Didn't look like he was didn't know what he was doing on the ground.
He looked comfortable. He looked comfortable.
Yeah, definitely looked comfortable.
What's interesting about that takedown, right? When he's about to take the back, you notice that I think he was on his left side because that's where Hermanson had ended up, and he tried to lock in. He tried to, or the left or right side. I have to go back and watch the fight again. But he was trying to take the back, of course, right? And then you saw that Jared Cannonier got out of it. The way he got out of it was pinning the leg and then preventing him from getting hooks, and then kind of escaped out. And it was very interesting because it was very technical, and it seemed it was all in one motion. And then he got up, and I was like, all right, he's not afraid to be on the ground. He knows what he knows what he's in for. Because you have a lot of these guys who fight Hermanson and who have to deal with his jiu-jitsu, and his jiu-jitsu is top notch. His jiu-jitsu is top notch. A lot of people weren't expecting a lot of things from him, but Hermanson's guillotine is one of the best guillotines right now in the UFC. If I'm being honest with you, it's so. I thought that another note to Cannonier's technical ability is because he it's not that he instantly escaped, but he understood the position he was in and how to get out, and it was able to spring up. And I was like, wow, that's not an easy, like some guys kind of just like give up that position, or some fighters may give up that position and try to get back into someone's guard, but like he actually escaped. I was like, nah, we're going back to the feet. So that was very good. And round one was interesting. I will say that round one was interesting.
So I'll read you the total strikes from round one, and I'll read you the total significant strikes as well. Okay.
Okay.
So first round, Jack goes 20 of 42 in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Cannonier goes 11 of 33.
Okay.
Significant strikes in the first round. Jack goes 18 of 39. Jared Cannonier goes 10 of 32. And obviously, by reading the next round doesn't make any sense really, because next round he was able
He
to
not, yeah.
hit him with an uppercut. I guess he was either going for
Uppercut.
I don't know if he was either going for a clinch and trying to go for a double leg, or just going straight for a double leg. But in either way, caught a right uppercut and dropped him.
I think I don't know. See, I have to rewatch that knockout, right? Because
Yeah,
it may have looked like it wanted to be a clinch, but it looked like he
yeah,
was also like dipping. Like how some fighters like they kind of just go under, or like
yeah.
what I mean. It looked like he was here like this, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then he got caught. Uppercut came straight from under on the right side, and I was like, ooh,
Well,
like
no.
I saw that.
So from what it seemed like to me, it looked like he was reaching out.
Let
Like he
me
was
let
reaching
me
out and
really,
try to go for a clinch, and
huh?
that's when he caught the uppercut. Wasn't like he had his
Maybe.
hands down like
Well,
this.
here's also you're right. That's probably true. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else, but I do remember he got caught with the right hand, the right
Yeah,
uppercut,
yeah.
and that was I was like, ooh. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, that's it, that's it, that's it.
And one of the discussions going into this fight was the ground and pound of each
Hermanson,
fighter. Each fighter
yeah,
was saying we have to who was the best ground and pound, and I guess you could say Cannonier able to display even more. But the interesting thing about Cannonier again goes back to his poise, his leg kicks, especially. I thought his leg kicks looked pretty good. Um,
he was very solid. He
yeah,
very solid, very technical. Not we're not talking like this guy is like the 10-time world Muay Thai champion of the world, but he knew when to strike. He knew he had the good timing, and he found that on he I want to say he found that in round one.
yeah.
How some guys take longer and like kind of need to get the timing down, right? He found it early, and I was very impressed by that.
You know what? You're not wrong, because I have the notes here. And I was watching the fight this morning,
Yeah,
and I went back to look at it, and yeah, in the first round, you can see Jack Hermanson starting off strong with the leg kicks, the body kicks, the jabs,
yeah,
and then you see towards, I believe, the 1 minute left in the round, you start to see Jared Kennedy turn on a little bit. You start to see him, pick his shots. He was starting to jab more, starting to land some leg kicks. He caught Hermanson a couple of times with
yeah.
and then leading to the second round.
Sorry, I just want to go back and retract my statement. It didn't look like he was here. It looked like he was almost trying to get a takedown.
Yeah,
It looked like he
yeah.
was going, and Hermanson does that. He fakes the takedown, comes up to get either double unders, or he tries to get an over under, goes for a sweep. So that's my fault. I want to retract that. Yeah, I had to rewatch that. But no,
No,
you're right. He found it early, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Just a question, side note: do you think
yeah.
this changed? Because I think when he fought Anderson Silva, that's when he talked about changing his fight camp. He changed from wherever he was going to, and now he's fighting with the smaller guys at MMA Lab and things like that. So do you
Yeah.
think that change? Do you think that change was good, better for him?
I think absolutely. I think, and what's was been kind of a discussion throughout the whole entire card was the influence of Benson Henderson in the leg kicks.
Yeah.
I think the leg kicks are now being more utilized than ever before, and you start to see a lot of credit goes to Benson Henderson for introducing the leg kicks, and you're seeing the
Ooh.
effects. You're seeing the effects. And
You know what's interesting, because around the time when we really got heavily into when we heavily got into UFC, that was
yeah,
the height of the Bendo era in the lightweight division, and
hmm
Hendo wasn't knocking guys out; he was outpointing guys, but it wasn't to the point where it's like, oh, it's like, he's throwing a little kicks here. Like, he had a game plan, stuck to the game plan, outpointed you, made you look silly, and so a lot of people hated that. But I think as a coach, or at least as a fighter in someone's corner, I think he's very beneficial. I
yeah.
think having Bendo in your corner, man, it's a difference. It makes a very big
I mean,
difference.
look even further down than when you look at the prelims of Lando Venata and Mark Casey.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why Mark Casey won that fight was because of the leg kicks, and because
yeah,
he chewed up Lando Venata's legs early on, that he couldn't do the spinning wheel that he usually do, or
he
put
shut
really
it
much
down.
power by his punches.
Yes, he did. I think even Vanada went on Instagram and was talking about it. He was talking about how that happened. He talking about how his leg he just Mark Dykes had did really well with the leg kicks early on, and that was the reason as to why he won. I'm impressed. I was impressed. It was a good fight too.
Yeah,
Another good fight. But
yeah,
back to Cannonier. Again, I saw it. I saw it happen. I was like, ooh. I was like thinking, I was like, Hermansson's not striking. He's trying to wrestle. I wonder if he gets tired. You know, Cannonier's he's not a big guy, but he's a big guy. He's lean.
yeah,
He's strong. I wonder if he has a defense. After the first takedown, I said, if he can defend one, he can probably defend another one. And he defended well too. We weren't just
yeah.
like he was like just slipping out of it. He defended very well. He had very good intelligence. And so I was like, he's gonna get tired and he's not striking. He's gonna be open for a hit. And I think that came sooner than I thought.
Yeah, and it goes back to the poise of Cannonier. I thought the poise of Cannonier is what led to that uppercut, where he was patient. He was waiting for Hermansson to come in again. He knew it was going to happen, and he just put up the right time.
I mean, you're right. You're right. The poise and the timing.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the situations where they stud. I think whoever set up the camp and was studying Hermansson and all this other stuff. I think they did their job well. I
yeah,
think Cannonier did his job well, and I think his team did his job well. I think the team the team and him did very well in this fight, and I'm very interested to see who he fights next. But Cannonier, man, he's got the power.
yeah.
That's just the interesting part. I remember seeing him. He was a huge guy. We're not talking like you see how lean and cut he is now, but remember, he was big. He was
Well,
big as a heavyweight.
well, let's even go back a little bit further. Let's go back last year. Last year, if you remember, we went to Madison Square Garden. That
He was a
was
light heavyweight.
That was Jared Cannonier's middleweight debut against David Branch.
Oh, David Branch. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He won that fight.
yeah. Then we watched that fight and we was like, we couldn't believe that was Jared Cannonier. And
That
then we've seen the performance of David Branch again in that fight as well. He was able to stuff David Branch's takedowns like he did this fight as well. And
yeah.
you see a person that came down from heavyweight, the light heavyweight to middleweight, and still has that power and was able to touch up David Branch just like he was able to touch up Jack Hermansson, was able to put him down.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting these guys down. You're right.
Yeah,
I mean, that transfer. So, which is interesting because now you know that transfer in some people that transfer of power is always going to be there. Like you
yeah,
have that power regardless of the weight division,
yeah.
and it's again he's 185. He's lean. The man's mean, but he seems like such a nice dude. At the post fight, he was just chilling. We're even around his spiritual rocks. He is. Did you see that?
I did.
I
I
mean,
did.
the brother was he was so spiritual. I was like, wow. I think he's find his niche, and I think he's in a good space, and I think that's going to also help him. His mindset for these last few fights have been really good.
I think it's also to make him, interesting to people. Like you love Jared Cannonier. I like Jared Cannonier. I think people can appreciate somebody that just goes out there, performs, and doesn't have anything really to say after the fight. Doesn't really have anything really
And
call out.
goes about
Yeah,
his business.
yeah.
You know, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I remember the
What?
MSG after he beat David Branch, and it was unexpected. Nobody
Yeah.
expected Jared Cannonier to come in there and beat
First,
David Branch. I think it was
no one
short
ex-
notice as well.
no one expected him to make 185.
Yeah, I think that
That's
fight was
also
on
another
short notice
thing.
too.
Yeah, that fight. I know that fight didn't happen. Happened within like a month, like in a month, less than a month. Sorry, very much less than a month of the actual card because that didn't
Yeah,
get announced. That got announced closer towards It got announced in October, I think. Actually, you're right.
right.
That fight got announced in October as opposed to being earlier.
I believe David Branch was supposed to fight somebody else, and then
Yeah,
that fight fell through, and then Jared Cannonier stepped up in his place. But remember, because that MSG card was a lot of moving around because of the main event dropping out. But
yeah.
anyway, but the reason why I bring this up is because after the fight, and we were sitting there live, you could see the audience hearing his post-fight speak, and after seeing his performance and him wowing everybody, you see people, really take on the Jared Cannonier. And I hope that transfers over, in the future as well. I think he has a
I
bright
agree.
future in the middleweight division.
I think he's gonna make some noise in this middleweight division. You're right. You're right.
So Jared Cannonier is 36 years old. He's now 13-4. He's on a three-fight winning streak. Beat David Branch last year. Beat Anderson Silva this year, and Jack Hermansson.
hmm
Um, he is. Let me just read you the middleweight division, and let me tell you what you think. So, Robert Whitaker is the champ as of right now. Israel Adesanya is facing Robert Whitaker this weekend, this Saturday. Um,
hmm
Paulo Costa is ranked number 2. He beat Yo Romero recently. Yo Romero lost to Paulo Costa, he's ranked number 3. Kevin Gastelum's facing Darren Till in MSG this year. Jack Hermansson just lost to Jared Cannonier. He's ranked number 5. So, and this is where it gets interesting, right? So Jacare Souza is moving up to light heavyweight. So I don't know how that ranking goes when he's not going to be a middleweight anymore.
In my humble opinion, I think if Jacare moves up to heavyweight, Jacare, which he's obviously doing, light heavyweight, sorry. I think Cannonier either jumps to that number 6 spot, or Weidman moves up, Brunson moves up, and Cannonier goes to 8. That logically, if they decide to take Ronaldo Souza, I mean, it's not going to happen. But if that's the case, if Souza beats, who is he fighting at light heavyweight again?
He's fighting John. Help me out here. Jan
Blachowicz.
Yeah.
Blachowicz. Okay, Blachowicz. So if Ronaldo Souza beats Jan, right? That means Ronaldo Souza is probably going to be the number 5 fighter in that division. That's just it.
4.
Or number 4, right? Number 5, number 4. Let's say that, right? Then he's on light heavyweight and middleweight. And what UFC doesn't like to do, unless you're a champion or unless they're really trying to promote you to fights, for the title, they try not to keep. UFC doesn't always keep you on 2 lists. But if they do, you're higher on one list than the other, which is fair because you have more activity in one division than the other. So if that's the case, obviously Ronaldo Souza is going to drop down on the middleweight, and I think that boosts Weidman up, Brunson up, and everyone after, so on and so forth, up. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's also interesting to see as well as Chris Weidman moving up as well. Remember, he's fighting Dominic Reyes
again,
October 18th.
Again, and if he beats, you're right. If that's UFC in Boston, that's the thing. If he wins, he's on two rankings lists.
Yeah,
and if they're gonna promote him, they're gonna promote him on light heavyweight. He's like, this is the fight that you've been calling for. This is the fight that you've been calling for. If Weidman wins, Weidman versus John Jones. That's the fight everyone wants. Everyone's always wanted that fight.
Yeah, and I apologize. My eyes is bothering me a little bit. The screen has gotten to me a little bit. Plus, I'm a little tired. I've been taking notes since 3 o'clock this morning.
That brother is a hard worker. UFC, hire him. UFC, hire him. I keep saying this.
Or bloody elbow, or
all of the above. Send some emails. We'll see. People get back to your people.
Right. So the interesting thing is Jacare and Chris Weidman, ranked number 6 and 7. They're moving up, so we'll see what happens with that. Derek Brunson beat Ian Heinisch. He's ranked number 8. Jared Cannonier is number 9. He just beat Jack Hermansson's ranked number 5. And the list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you would have to put Jared Cannonier in that top 5 spot, now beating Jack Hermansson. Who does Jared Cannonier fight next after this?
So we're talking the state of the middleweight, right? Here's what they can do.
Also keep in mind, Darren Till's moving up to middleweight as well and fighting Kevin Gastelum. And if he beats Kevin Gastelum, he is now in the top 4 or 5. Yeah.
I agree. Now, if Jared Cannonier came off an impressive victory of Jack Hermansson, right? Stopped him by TKO. The fights that he could possibly make would be Brunson may not be interested, or he would have to either take the loser of Till versus Gastelum, or he takes the loser of who else? I'm sorry. What was one of the other middleweight fights you just announced?
There actually is no other middleweight.
It would be So, and if UFC really wanted to get this guy going and see how he was doing against top 5 guys, give him the winner. Give him the loser of Till versus Gastelum. Or what you could do, you could give him Brunson. Sorry, that's the other person I was mentioning. You can give him Brunson. It's up to you. But that fight, win or lose, that puts Brunson in a better position, and it gives Jared Cannonier a better advocate for I want a top 5 opponent now. Give me someone up ahead. So that's the argument for that fight. But realistically, they should give him the loser of Gastelum versus Till.
See, I go the other way. I think, my philosophy, right? Sorry, but
you want to build. You want to build. You got to build it.
Yeah, my philosophy is if you're headlining an event, your trajectory should be going upward, not going down. You know what I'm saying? So I go the opposite. I think if Jared Cannonier should either face, I think he should face Yoel Romero. If Yoel Romero's not moving up to the heavyweight, I think that should be the next fight.
Ooh.
Or
We don't know what he's doing. That's the issue. That
yeah,
is the
so
issue.
but he hasn't made any announcement saying he's moving up to light heavyweight. So and he still look good against Paulo Costa. And I personally had Yoel Romero beating Paulo Costa. So
We all did,
yeah. So
except for the judges.
if we're gonna talk about the judges a little bit later on. But if they wanted to, Jared Cannonier could fight Yoel Romero next, or he could fight the winner of Kelvin Gastelum or Darren Till.
That would be the only fight that makes sense. And you know what I mean? Like it's either the he could fight the winner, right? Or he could fight the loser. Either or would still make for a very perfect card. Or he like you said, he gets that fight and the fight you mentioned earlier. So I mean, it's a win-win for Jared Cannonier.
But again, a lot hinges not now that and one thing we can say about this middleweight division, just looking at the list overall, a lot of the older figures have moved out of that division. And you're starting to see a lot of newer players in the division that are just growing and growing. Some prospects, some veterans, some finally getting their shine.
Well, you're right. The top 5 guys are guys who, within the last 3 years, have made a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Israel, Paulo. Wasn't Paulo on The Ultimate Fighter and he lost?
I
believe he was on The Ultimate Fighter and lost.
I believe he won though.
Did he? Let me see.
I could be wrong. I thought he won.
I think he didn't. I don't think he did. I think he was unfortunately he lost a fight.
You can look that up.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says in the opening round he defeated Jose Roberto via submission guillotine. He was the second middleweight fighter chosen by Vanderlei. Then his next fight was against Marcio Alejandre Jr. and Costa lost split decision after 3 rounds.
Okay.
So he lost in The Ultimate Fighter, but ever since The Ultimate Fighter, this man has been on nothing but a roll.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, even Yoel Romero to a degree. Yoel Romero really didn't pop up on the scene, so maybe about the Yoel Romero really didn't pop on the scene for a minute. Remember, he was always somebody that you talk about, somebody that was actually good. Well, I would say 2015, 2016, I started hearing more about Yoel Romero. Really,
I want to say Yoel Romero became a very, very, very big name when he knocked out Derek Brunson.
Yes.
When he knocked out Derek Brunson, I want to say that was when it was like, ooh, all right. So this guy beat a guy who we thought could be, eventually some way down the line fight for the title. Then he starched Brad Tavares. I'm looking up his record now. Then he beat Tim Kennedy, and that's when we had the Stoolgate issue. Then he beat Lyoto, sorry. And that's when we were all like, oh shit, we thought Lyoto might be able to catch him, something slick. TKO'd Lyoto. He beat Jacare by split. That was a hard fight. Very hard fight.
I think the Lyoto Machida fight is exactly when for me personally, I started hearing more about Yoel Romero. I think around that time in the UFC, maybe not in other promotions, but in the UFC, I started hearing more about Yoel Romero and him being a potential champion. Was that Lyoto Machida fight?
I think when he beat Weidman, I was like, oh, this guy's got to fight for the belt. Because that was, Weidman had been on this long, that was right before he went on this long, delay from injuries, and for the thumb injury, for the spine and stuff.
Yeah.
When he beat Weidman with that knee, and I remember you telling me, you're like, yo, Elijah, I'm not going to lie to you. Third round, he beat him in the third round. I was like, this is the issue. Third round, Yoel Romero is the scariest Yoel Romero you can ever see. It is the third round where it's like he has read and processed all the data from rounds 1 and 2, and then he is able to do whatever he wants in round 3. That is the scariest Yoel Romero there is.
Yeah, I always say Yoel Romero is always dangerous, because of that power. But for some reason, Yoel Romero, to people that don't really think, he actually is better in later rounds. He actually does pull it up in later rounds.
He does. I mean, he's been in 3-round fights, but he's been in 5-round fights, but not all of them go to decision. The 2 Whitaker fights are the only chances where he's been the full 25 minutes.
and he looked better in the later rounds than in the beginning.
And again, with this Costa fight, he looked great in the last 2 rounds, in my
Yeah,
opinion. He looked
yeah,
great. It was only it was a 3-round fight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yes.
So I can't really couldn't say the rounds 4 and 5, but in the last round, he came alive. The man came alive. I mean, the man was smiling, laughing,
Yeah,
throwing, catching. I mean, it was enough to win that fight by split decision, in my opinion. It was a very close fight, but that third round was more than enough. But
I agree.
again, when it comes back to who Jared Cannonier can face, Costa, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no, but given Costa's track record, I want to see where the division is at once Adesanya versus Whitaker happens.
Yeah,
This all depends on the winner of that, because if we get Israel as the new champ, I truly think that they're going to be like, well, Israel, we don't know how Israel does against Yoel. You know what I mean? If Yoel's able to win at least one fight by impressive fashion again, Yoel can still be in that title contention.
I don't think
I
so. I
believe.
think Paulo Costa jumped him. I think
Well,
you
no,
know, right?
yeah.
Good.
No. You're right. Well, he beat
Yeah,
him. Costa beat
yeah,
him. So
yeah,
in reality, Costa beat him. You're right. That's
yeah,
just it. That Costa is next, right?
yeah.
But I think Yoel Romero is one, not, and if not one, only 2 fights away from fighting for the belt again.
I agree.
That's 2 of the top guys.
I
Maybe
agree.
that should be my point, instead of just saying he's right there. I think 1 to 2 more fights at the most. If the
Yeah.
first fight is the loser of, Whitaker and Adesanya, after on the same card that Costa fights the winner of Israel and Whitaker, and Costa beats that loser in impressive fashion, I could see Yoel Romero being, they want, like, yo, give that man a title shot. Give that man a title shot. But, UFC, you want to market. And if you have newer champs like Israel, I feel like they want to have him go against the best, and they also want to have him go against new people as well. You know what I mean?
You
Because
know
a
what?
lot of people are saying they have Israel's number, and it's like, the guy's so young, he hasn't even reached his full potential yet. And what's last the interesting thing? Sorry, I know I'm going on here. Did
No, it's
you
fine.
know Israel is older than Robert Whitaker?
I did.
That's crazy. The
I did.
testament of skill is crazy.
I did.
I didn't know that. I thought Robert Whitaker's like 32. Robert Whitaker's like only, I think he's not even 30 yet, is he? Or he just turned 30.
I think he just turned 30.
The
I
man
think.
is not.
I
The
think.
man. The man's 28, Tyreece. The man is 28. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? It's
Yeah. I thought it was.
crazy.
I thought it was maybe 29, 30.
The man's
Interesting.
28. That's
Interesting.
crazy. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead. There was a point you were making.
No. You made a lot of interesting points, especially about Israel Adesanya and his potential. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I think about it, looking at this division again, if I'm booking it, I think if Darren Till beats Kevin Gastelum, that's a big if. And if Israel Adesanya was to get past Whitaker, or if Whitaker was to beat Israel Adesanya, I think the loser should face Darren Till. And I think Yoel Romero, if he's not moving up to light heavyweight, should face Jared Cannonier. And here's why. I think if Jared Cannonier, I think that billing of Jared Cannonier, this big strong man against this other big strong man, I think that is a good main event, and I think people will be attracted to that.
Yeah.
I think the Darren Till fight, I wouldn't give Darren Till to, and if he wins, I wouldn't give Darren Till to Jared Cannonier, because I think you could get a big international fight between either Israel Adesanya or Robert Whitaker.
I'm going to take your point, and I'm going to give you something that I think you may love.
Okay.
So you just said that you don't want to give, if Till wins, you don't want to give Till to Cannonier, right?
Yes.
You don't, because I wouldn't say it's a step back, but I think it's a step in the wrong direction, because Cannonier's on his way up, and that's like, if you beat the number 2 guy in the division,
Yes.
it's like, do you want to fight the guy at number 6, or do you kind of just want to advocate for a title fight, or the loser of the guy who's fighting for the title?
Yes.
Theoretically, you're right. I agree with that. Now, what if Till beats, this in an alternate universe, believe in the multiverse. We've talked about that topic. Let's just say Till beats Gastelum, right? Give Till to Costa.
No, because I
Why
wouldn't do
not?
that.
I would
I wouldn't do
love to
that.
see that fight. I would
I
love
wouldn't.
to see that fight.
I wouldn't do that just because Paulo Costa beat Yo Romero, and that's a tough feat as it is. Granted,
Yeah.
we don't think he beat him or not. He still beat him on the record, and
Yeah.
the UFC is looking for that Brazilian star.
Yeah.
Ever since they lost all their Brazilian stars to Bellator,
Yeah.
they've been
Yeah.
looking for that Brazilian star. Israel Adesanya has an issue with Paulo Costa that they can talk about. That Paulo
Mhm.
Costa wants that fight, and Robert Whitaker. You want to see if he can stack up. He beat Yo Romero. If he beats Israel Adesanya, can he beat this new blood in the middleweight division named Paulo Costa, this superstar out of Brazil?
Yeah.
I think Paulo Costa, win or lose, Robert Whitaker, or Israel Adesanya, he's next in line.
Yes.
And I think Jared Cannonier, the fight with Yo Romero makes sense just because A, Yo Romero is number 3, and
Yep.
B, I want to. It's interesting to see if Jared Cannonier's power can match up to the same power as Yo Romero. Two different power. I think Yo Romero is athletic and explosive. Jared Cannonier is mostly just his power. He's just mostly explosive itself. He's not. I don't think him athletic.
I think there's a difference in athleticism. I will
Yes.
agree. Don't get me wrong. These guys are both athletes, but in the way at which they display their athleticism is also different. I agree with that statement.
And
Actually,
also, sorry to cut you off.
no, brother. Keep it going.
Can Yo Romero take Jared Cannonier down, which a lot of people have not been able to? David Brent tried it. He couldn't be able to. Jack Hermanson tried it. He tried it once. He was able to get back on his feet and stuck 5 of the takedowns. Can Jared Cannonier stuff the takedown of Yo Romero if it was attempted? And can his power match to Yo Romero? I think if Jared Cannonier beats Yo Romero, we talk about a new person at middleweight that has enough power to knock out any man like Yo Romero can.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. I could do the Yo Romero versus Cannonier, but
Yes.
you know what fight I kind of also want to see if Robert Whitaker loses in the alternate universe, which I don't know. I haven't decided who I really want. To put my pick in for this fight. Like I like both guys, but if Robert Whitaker loses, I'd be interested in seeing him fight Till if Till wins.
Yeah, I think if Darren Till if Darren Till beats Kevin Gastelum, I think he should fight Robert Whitaker next.
If he loses, we got to say ifs.
If Whitaker loses, I think the loser of Whitaker and Israel Adesanya should fight Darren Till. And I think if Kevin Gastelum was to beat Darren Till, the loser of Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker should fight, or the loser of that fight should fight Kevin Gastelum.
Agreed.
I think you can easily rematch Israel Adesanya and Kevin Gastelum. You can run that back. You could do Kevin Gastelum versus Whitaker as well.
Because both of one of those fights happened, and we understood what happened, and then one of those fights was supposed to take place, and it never got to it. So now we finally get it. So that's also I agree with that. I want to see. I truly did want to see Gastelum versus Whitaker. I actually really wanted to see that fight.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good matchup. Both guys are they're small guys. They're smaller guys in comparison to their division, but they're really good on their feet. They both can do really good with wrestling. So it's very interesting to see how that fight would have went.
But you see what I'm saying? You can easily plug and place those fights together. I think the winner of this fight with Kevin Gastelum and Darren Till can fight the number 1 guy. Jared Cannonier can fight Yo Romero, and then the winner of those 2 fights could possibly meet each other as a contender fight to fight for the championship.
This goes back to my theory. Yo Romero. You're right. This goes back to my theory. Yo Romero's only 2 fights away from fighting for the title again.
Exactly.
Or only 2 fights. Cannonier. I say Cannonier's only 2 as well. I agree. Yeah. Cannonier's 2. Yo's 2. I want to say Gastelum 2 and Darren Till 2. All 4 of those guys are 2 fights away from fighting for the belt. So
absolutely.
I don't disagree. But again, back to Hermanson versus Cannonier. Very great fight. Middleweight division now has starting to get a legitimate contender when it comes to Jared Cannonier.
And it's becoming slowly the most interesting division to watch.
Yeah. Well, remember how stagnant that division was for like 17,000 years? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's that division with it was hard, you had a champ who, you had Weidman the champ for a while, right?
Yeah.
He beat Silva, he beat Silva twice, actually, right? And
Yeah.
then he defended against Lyoto. Didn't he fight he beat what's my guy's name from Brazil? You know him, the almost armbar John Jones.
Victor,
Vitor
Belfort.
Vitor Belfort. He
Yeah.
beat Vitor Belfort. He beat a lot of these guys, and then he lost to what's it called? Luke Rockhold, one of
Marco.
my
Yeah.
very favorites. Then Rockhold lost to
Michael Bisping.
Bisping. Bisping lost to George
Cheers.
St. Pierre. Title was vacated. Robert Whitaker versus Yo Romero. That's the emergence of the new era. I think again, we always talk about this. That was when the new era of MMA fighters. Like there's generations when it comes to MMA fighters, and that's when I think the new era finally got its time to shine. The era that's under Weidman, and then that's when you had these newer guys coming up. So yeah, I'm interested in the middleweight division now. The middleweight division has so much talent, and they're able to go to a lot of places, especially with the addition of Darren Till.
Yeah, and I think you also have some names below and outside the top 10, like Edmund Shabazian. That name sounds familiar to you. It should.
Dangerous kid.
He's somebody I'm looking very closely at. Somebody that could be in that contender spot maybe in the next year or so.
I want to say within the next year he'll definitely be top 10.
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna be top 10.
Definitely has potential. Definitely has potential really, really soon. But yeah, so I think we laid out the groundwork for UFC. The ball's in their court to go with it. I think the new division, especially this Saturday, Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker, it sets the stage for so much in 2020.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
All right, man.
It sets the tone.
Moving on, co-main event. Marco Madsen makes his UFC debut, beating Danilo Belluardo.
I didn't watch this fight. I came into the end of the post fight with Madsen winning.
Yes. So I'll tell you what happened. Basically, Marco Madsen, he's a Olympian, from Denmark actually, 35 years old.
What is he, wrestler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, wrestler. 8-0 going into this fight. Obviously, he's now 9-0. First round, 1 minute and 12 seconds. TKO punch from half guard.
Ooh.
He was able to take the back of Danilo early on, able to back trip him, and from there just laying bombs from half guard.
Okay, I respect.
1 minute and 12 seconds. This guy is impressive. He's in the lightweight division with a whole bunch of names, a whole bunch of people. That wrestling is legit. He's 9-0. He's 3 knockouts on his record, 3 submission and 3 decisions, so he can do it pretty much any way you want to see it.
Yeah.
And at 35 years old, he's an Olympian, has great wrestling background. I want to see more from this guy. I told you after this fight, I said he's one of my MVPs of the night. He's somebody that I cannot wait to see what he matches up next with.
Yeah, I think his nickname is the Olympian. I feel like with his name, with the last name, like is it Madsen?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
I feel like what's his first name?
Mark.
I think his nickname, his UFC nickname, should just be Mark the Madman Madsen. Like it just makes the most sense. The Olympian, that's cool. Like that's great, right? Like I'm very impressed with the fact that you're Olympian, but like I think he missed out.
No,
I think he missed out.
I'm totally cool you being an Olympian. However, your name should be Marco Madsen.
Marco the Madman Madsen. It just makes sense. Like that's like a total miss for nickname. I don't know.
Man, not everybody.
I'm just saying.
That's such an MMA name.
The
Madman. That's such
a good one.
Okay. MMA fans are so horrible.
There are names that fit and there are names that don't. That one just fits. Let's not even play.
The Olympian is just fine.
The Olympian is good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. But we have the potential to be better. And I think it's Mark the Madman Madsen. Sorry, side note.
We take to the next level.
Yeah. There's this level, and then we take it to the next level. I'm just saying. Sorry. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Anyway, he proves at 9-0. First round TKO. He looked damn impressive. I can't see what's next from him. He's 35 years old. I want to see who he matches up with next. He fought in Cage Wars as well. 35 years old. I want to see him, get a big enough name. See if we got puts this guy going.
Yeah, no. I think if with him getting the impressive win that he did, I think UC definitely has a chance to push him in the right direction, or at least market him very well. You know what I'm saying? So that would be. I think they have a potential star. They have a potential star.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. The crowd was all in on him, all in for him in his home country. So yeah, I want to see more from this guy. I said, he's on my radar. He's on my radar. Moving on from that, Gilbert Burns beats Gunnar Nelson 28-29 across the board, unanimous decision. Did you see this fight?
I did not. I want to say though, I like Burns at 170. I like Burns at 170. He was always one of those fighters you knew who had the power, you knew he had the great jiu-jitsu, but the issue was I don't think the weight cut was good for him. A weight cut hurt him more than it helped him in the lightweight division. But at the welterweight division, I think he can be a solid contender if he makes the right moves and the adjustments. But I remember him calling out for that fight on Twitter. He said, because not Darren Till, sorry, I keep thinking Darren Till. But what's it called? What's his name again? Gunnar Nelson, sorry. Gunnar Nelson, fighter he was supposed to fight, dropped out. And then he said, "Oh, yo, sign me up. Sign me up. I want Gunnar Nelson." And I was like, huh.
Thiago Alves.
It's an interesting call out. Thiago Alves he's dropped out of a lot of fights. It's the issue. He gets injured.
He's supposed to fight Gunnar Nelson. He dropped out of the fight because of injury.
He gets injured a lot. It's another thing. He was in that generation with GSP and them. He tends to get injured a lot. I noticed that these days. But no, going back to Gunnar Nelson and Gilbert Burns, I'm very impressed. Very impressed because you know what's interesting. You always knew he had the talent, and he's not an older guy. He's a young guy still.
Yeah, 33.
33. That's like prime for welterweight. If that's like getting to your prime for welterweight, you do have those fighters in there. Though the younger fighters, like the lower weight classes, I want to say you have these guys who tend to be anywhere from maybe like 25 to 32, right? And then when you go up in weight, like to like lightweight, you have the solid fighters who like have the good experience around 28 to 30, right? And then you have the welterweight guys who are good from like 32 to 36. Like those are their age group for the strong guys. And the same goes for the guys who are at middleweight too. Like there's the age gap. So like that's interesting to see that,
Yeah, I agree. Let me do a favor. Let me read you the numbers per round, and I'll tell you what transpired in the fight. All right. So, first round. This is round per strikes. Nelson landed 7-14. Gilbert Burns landed 11-30. Second round, Nelson landed 7-17. Gilbert Burns landed 18-34. Third round, Nelson landed 12-14. Gilbert Burns landed 17-35. Significant strikes per round. Nelson landed 7-13 in the first round. Gilbert Burns 11-28. Second round, Nelson landed 6-14. Gilbert Burns landed 11-27. Third round, Nelson landed 7-9. Gilbert Burns landed 8-21. So it was a close fight, but Gilbert Burns edged it out. It was one of those things where, and I wanted to talk to you about this. Is I wonder if Gunnar Nelson's style is not as mysterious as it once was. That karate style that used to be, that Lyoto Machida, the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson,
standing sideways.
Yeah, it's not as unpredictable and as how do you train for this attitude as it once was before.
I will 100% agree with that. I think because with Lyoto Machida, he let's just go ahead and bring it back. He crane kicked Randy Couture. And Randy Couture lost a tooth. He lost a tooth from that fight. That was hard,
And retired.
And retired. So, I mean, let's be honest here. That karate style, it took years to figure out and dissect, right?
Yeah.
Because even with Stephen Thompson, the best way, I think Woodley did it the best. Woodley was able to neutralize that karate style. Yeah. And it took a lot. He had to call in these karate experts, He had to call in these people who were like the world-class karate striking experts. And so what I will say is that fight style is no longer as, it's still elusive. Let's just get that on the board. Definitely still elusive, definitely still creative. But in terms of mystique, which would be that third one, I don't think it's there as much as there. And even if it is, I think a lot of people are able to understand, have a basic knowledge of striking sometimes, or like if you have a very deep enough level of striking, you're able to understand what can go into that. And so my only other question for this fight was, did it go to the ground at all?
It did. It did in certain aspects. Gilbert Burns actually was almost like the anaconda in
Ooh.
the second round. He hit. So that the thing about the fight was the significant strikes. Gilbert Burns was able to land a little bit more and able to have more of an impact on the fight than Gunnar Nelson did. Gunnar Nelson, he would use his karate stance, and it's just waiting, pop, waiting, and
Top, yeah.
it's not a lot of activity. With
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns, he's coming in, he's feinting, he's going on the inside, and when it got on the inside, Gilbert Burns got the best of the exchanges. The
Yeah.
thing, the thing about
That-
Gunnar Nelson is the fact that
yeah.
when he'll do the karate stance, and when he gets on the inside, he changes it up and starts going to the body. I just don't understand really what his style is supposed to be. It's supposed to be all in on having this karate stance, like like a Wonder Boy Thompson. Like Wonder Boy Thompson uses distance.
That
Gunnar Nelson,
karate style, you bring up a good point, right? Because the distance with Stephen Thompson, you just said the distance. I
yeah,
think that karate style works better for people who are taller, in my
yes,
opinion. I think the lankier, taller fighters can do better with that when it gets in. But the issue with them is when someone gets on their inside, they can barely throw strikes because they're so tall. Now, Gunnar Nelson gets the doesn't get the luxury because he's not a tall. So I think the karate is good if he's able to catch people, but if he's not able to catch people, he has to be able to do something else. And then when you someone gets in on the inside, when you have that karate stance, it's kind of hard to switch if you notice to another stance mid. You know what I mean? Mid
yeah,
thing. So I think that's what you're experiencing. That in that striking exchange is like when someone comes in, it's like, ooh, what I'm so used to point pop, point pop. So if someone
yeah,
comes in, I can't just switch to a southpaw or orthodox stance. You can't just
exactly.
that just can't happen. So I think it's that style depends on countering. But if you're unable to counter somebody, then
Yes,
what's next? That's the issue with that kind of stance. So
exactly. And that's what you
it's
see in the fight. You seen when it got to the inside, it was like, and to Nelson's credit, he did land some punches on the inside, a couple of punches to the body and whatnot. But
yeah.
Gilbert Burns always had the better exchanges.
You know what? And who I credit with truly taking down Gunnar Nelson's style,
Yeah,
or not, sorry, not taking down, but like kind of like solving that. Leon Edwards. This man doesn't get enough credit.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Leon Edwards doesn't get enough credit, but he fought some killers.
yeah,
Leon Edwards fought some killers at welterweight, and he fought Gunnar Nelson. And the only danger that he was in was one position where he was on his back. When Gunnar Nelson took his back, I think that was the only danger he was in that whole fight. And after that, he survived and was able to roll with him on the ground to a degree. And the stand up, Gunnar Nelson just couldn't. Gunnar Nelson didn't have an answer for.
yeah.
Leon Edwards, I don't think maybe I'd be wrong in saying he solved the equation, but I think Leon Edwards gave the best way to deal with Gunnar Nelson.
And it's interesting too, right? So the key thing you always talk about is the ground, right? And
Yeah.
when you have Gilbert Burns, who's good on the ground, is underrated on the ground. People
Well,
some people say that he's just all power and all striking, and some people say he's good at jiu-jitsu. So he never really gets credit for having an
he
all-around
has
game.
he has a lot of submission victories.
Yes,
He has a good amount of submission victories. A lot of people forget that.
but he's never credited for being an all-around great fighter. I always feel like he's
No, he's
always
not.
that. He's always
He got
that. He has power, or he has good jiu-jitsu, or he's never a person that says he can do it all.
yeah.
And he was able to do it all, and he was able to do stand up a lot better. He was able to defend himself on the ground against Gunnar Nelson as well. So that's what won the fight.
Yeah. That's interesting. I gotta watch that fight then. I'm gonna go back and watch that fight.
But so Gilbert Burns, like you said, 17. He goes 17-3 now. He beat Olivia Almontier. He beat Mike Davis. He beat Alexei Konchenko, and now he's beat Gunnar Nelson. He's on a 4-fight win streak. I think the next person he should fight should be Neil Magny. I think he should get somebody in the top 15.
Oh, now you know I want Neil Magny to come back. You know how I
Yes.
feel about Neil Magny.
Yes. I
I'm a
think he should fight
fan.
somebody in the top 15. I think it's
I'm a,
time.
yeah, agreed.
I think
I
it's
agree.
time. I think it is
I would like
time.
to see that fight. I would like to see that fight.
Yeah. I think that's a great matchup for Gilbert Burns.
And for Neil Magny to come back and for Gilbert Burns to go to the next level.
Yes, and Gilbert Burns has been doing it for a little bit. I think it should be. I think after 4-fight win streak, especially beating Gunnar Nelson, who's outside of the top 15, but he's always around that, possibly being ranked. I think that should be a good fight for Gilbert Burns. It's Neil Magny.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the contrary, what's next for Gunnar Nelson? I did some research last night. Like I said, I'm up since 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired, as you can probably see, laughing.
Yeah. That's
But
okay.
so Gunnar Nelson's on a 2-fight losing streak. And just read through his wins and losses. Since 2014, he's been 4-5. He lost to Gilbert Burns, lost to Leon Edwards. Before that, he beat Alex Oliveira. Before that, he lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio. But that was his first only knockout loss. He beat Alajo Ban, he beat Albert Tumanov, and lost to Damian Maia.
Yeah.
And his career in the UFC has been ups and downs since really he exploded on the scene in 2014. He came into the UFC 13-0.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost to Rick Story by decision. That was one of the times we say, Gunnar Nelson only loses by these close decision losses. That's only
Yeah.
And as you've seen lately, the Leon Edwards fight, the Gilbert Burns fight, it's not close. It's not getting close anymore. It's actually, you actually see a clear winner out of this. It's not like he's being jerked around by the judges.
Yeah.
I just don't know with his style, his karate style, his the way the division is now, with you getting more people that are more dynamic and that have and are good at certain things that maybe Gunnar Nelson is not at. I don't know where he stacks up anymore.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be an answer of whether or not he should retire or or not that he should change camps. He has to, his game has to evolve. But, he's so used to this karate style. I don't like, he's so good on the ground. We know that. I think he improved his physique. I think he added on more muscle. I think he's changed his appearance in the last few fights, I think that's what's working for him.
I would say he leaned up a little bit.
You think I think he looks a little bit. I agree, because before he didn't look like a welterweight. I never really truly thought he was I thought he would be a lightweight, in all honesty. But he's starting to look a little bit more like a welterweight. But no, what I want to say is his game has to evolve at some. I don't know where. I don't want to say the striking, right? Because it's the striking. He can hurt people, and he's good.
Mm.
I think he needs to. I don't want to say change his game plan, but like, how Damian Maia is starching dudes by holding on to them?
Yeah.
I think he needs to stick to that kind of now at this point. You can't be looking out there to go strike and do this karate stuff and then, eventually get the takedown or get the takedown when you want, I think he's gotta add another level or another dimension. Let's say I think he needs to add another dimension to his game. Like, there has to be something else that gets these guys into positions, because what he has right now, it's good for some. But when he gets up to that higher competition within the top 10, like the 15 through 10 slots, he can probably take those guys out with what he has. But the 10 through 1, it's kind of dicey between the 5 through 10 slot. He can win, he cannot win. But then the 1 through 5, those guys are killers. Those guys are killers. So I mean, it's hard. There has to be another dimension added to his game. Now, what that is, I truly don't know. But if he can add another dimension that gives him a point over these other guys, and it can boost him up, and he's still evolving, then he can come back. But if that doesn't happen, I'm sorry to say, he's probably gonna he's probably going to end up losing a little bit more than he wins.
You know what? I think I do want to see a training camp change. I think
You
I
do?
do. He's been with SBJ Ireland for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, with John Kavanaugh and obviously most notable Conor McGregor. I feel like that whole camp has been through so much in terms of the success, how it's been. We got new fighters coming in. John Kavanaugh is a pretty busy man at this time. He was coaching a whole bunch of fighters.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of guys.
I feel like a change for Gunnar Nelson would be good. I think a change just maybe not even totally leave SBJ, but just try something else out. I think for me, he's been kind of stagnant for a long time. Honestly, in my
Yeah.
opinion, I think he's been a little stagnant for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
so ever since probably the Alan Joban or Santiago Ponzinibbio fight, as around the time where I thought, what, Gunnar Nelson's good, but he's not the same. He's not the same that I used to think of him. And
Or
maybe it's time.
maybe he is the same and we think his game probably hasn't evolved.
That's too. That too.
You know?
So
That could be
maybe a training camp change will
could
be better.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I don't know who that be. Maybe Hard Knocks 365. Maybe he moves there. Maybe he
No, I wouldn't. I don't think he should go to Hard Knocks. I don't think he should
really.
go to Hard Knocks.
Well,
I don't think
I'm looking
that
at. But
I don't think that karate style complements well at Hard Knocks because you got some people who are brawlers. You
maybe
got
Duke Groups. I'm just thinking.
now that karate style can be translated into a little bit more of a kickboxing style. I will say
Yeah.
that, but again, I don't think he should immediately adopt a new stance. I think he needs to mix in more elements of, again, the next dimension. He has to have that. He needs to mix in a little bit more of something else to what he's got, because what he's got is good. It's a good base, fantastic jiu-jitsu, and then he has really, he has good striking. He has good striking when it comes to the karate point style. But like,
I agree.
it's not enough. In this day of age, it's just not enough.
I agree. It's gonna be interesting to see where he goes from there. Again, he came in hot, 13-0, and he was like, "Oh my God, Conor McGregor's over here doing his thing, Gunnar Nelson's over here doing his thing," and it's been a rocky road for Gunnar Nelson since.
Remember Renzo Gracie was saying, "Oh, this guy's going to be the welterweight champion within the next 2-3 years."
Yeah,
and it's just like, is he?
Yeah. I mean, but he still can maybe, but
it's not that he can't, but something had that's just it. Something has to change. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Something has to change.
Yes. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on. Ion Cutelaba beats Khalil Roundtree Jr. First round TKO, elbows from ground and pound. This was an absolute Hulk smash, is what we say.
Yeah.
Hulk smash.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not see this fight going this way. I had Roundtree winning. I was like, Roundtree's gonna do it, and then boom. I was like,
well, here's another thing. So we talked about Gunnar Nelson just a few seconds ago. This is another one where that stance and that style is just not gonna work with everybody.
Well, what, the Muay Thai style?
Yes.
Oh, you can't do that with everybody. You truly
and that's what he's trying. And that's what he tried to do. And he tried to have that Muay Thai stance. And Ion Cutelaba was able to grab the single leg, and instead of fighting the hands, Khalil Roundtree was punching from the position against single legs. He got taken down easily, and it was over.
He had him against the cage. He had him, he had his back. He had his back at one point, and then he did a foot sweep, dropped him, and then finished him. And I was like, I'm impressed by Ion Cutelaba, the Hulk. Very impressed. He was technical. He was a true mixed martial arts moment. He went from striking to wrestling. From wrestling to striking effortlessly. And it was just, the transition was beautiful. But I think Khalil Roundtree's change to Thailand, to I think the top team, what is Tiger Muay Thai, whatever it is.
I have no idea.
That's where he's training out of, right? He moved to Thailand to be Tiger Muay Thai, something like that. That's the camp. I think his striking is getting better. But
Yes, I agree.
what I truly think he's missing from his game is wrestling.
Well, no,
I think his
I don't think it's even that. I just think that just the style that he has, like that, the front leg is always going to be there. So in the fight, did you see it?
no, I only saw the knockout. I didn't see how he got the knock, like how brought him up to the cage.
Right. So even leading up to the knockout, Khalil Roundtree landed a body kick or a leg
Yeah,
kick, and Ian Kutalaba was able to take that leg kick, go for a takedown.
yeah.
So it's not like it's part of that. It's just the style, like just that stance, and he's gonna use his legs and kick. Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody's gonna take those kicks and take you down.
yeah. It's just a lot. It just I don't know, man. Like I don't think I don't want to say he's not doing good because he has the potential to be, a very good contender.
Yeah,
He gets caught up. Like, like he's just like I was like, should you have done that? Probably not. Like the body kick, that's okay. The body kick, but
yeah,
defend the takedown, Don't just
yeah,
punch the guy. I
yeah.
mean, if you punch him and clip him, that's okay. Or if you throw an elbow, that's also okay. But like do it in such a fashion where you're not putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, and Khalil Roundtree, we said after the Eric Anders win, he was like, "Oh my God, Khalil Roundtree looks phenomenal. He looks good."
Phenomenal.
But I still have my reservations about that style. I don't know if that style could translate into MMA to where you fight the elite of the elite, and that could still work.
That style works, but you can't only use that style. And that's the thing,
Gotcha.
as a fighter, like that style works. Like you have Valentina Shevchenko, right? She
Yeah.
doesn't, and I'm going to ask just one question. Was
Yeah.
Roundtree standing like this, with the foot bouncing up and down?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, God. That style works. That style works. Don't get me wrong. But
I'm mad you said, "Oh God."
I just, no, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but
You make it sound like it.
I'm sorry, no, because like I feel like I don't know, like that style works, but like does it? Like you know what I mean? Like it works, but does it work? You're right, it doesn't work for everybody, and
No,
that's
it
the
doesn't.
issue. And it's like, like the style, like how he was fighting with Gokhan Saki,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the stance he had, that's before he moved to before the Johnny Walker loss. That fight he had with Gokhan Saki was fun. Like I want him to blend it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want him to blend it better. I apologize, Kaleranchi. I didn't mean to say, oh God. I just that was a moment.
No, you meant to say it, and I mean, listen, man. When you get taken down 4-5 in round one, obviously it's not good. I don't think it's the end of Khalil Roundtree. I think he's still an exciting fighter to watch. I'm still going to see where his journey takes him.
I still think he can be a top 10. Like when I tell you Khalil Roundtree is so good.
Yes.
So good, so talented, but just you can't. I don't know. I feel like you just can't do that style. Because he did that throughout the whole fight with Eric Anders, right?
Yeah.
And it was an impressive display. But if you bring that to the next fight and you don't show any, again, I don't think he had enough time to show changes. But I think it was enough for his opponent to read what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the game plan was for Kusalaba was to take Khalil Roundtree down. So he had an exact game plan. Take Khalil Roundtree down, take him down from there, and finish him from there, which he did.
Yeah.
So if that style could be modified enough to where, I could use that style, but also again goes back to even the Gunnar Nelson, goes back to even who was it before? Gunnar Nelson had the same problem.
With who?
Remember his stance. I'm talking about his stance.
Oh.
Yes, Gunnar Nelson. Yes, Gunnar Nelson had the same thing where that stance, it can work in certain instances, it can work against certain people, not against everybody.
Yeah.
So, Kusalaba wins. He bounces back from a rear naked choke loss to Golden Teixeira this year, which Golden Teixeira is still doing the damn thing at his age, which is impressive. And he's 25 years old, so he's somebody you can potentially look out for in the lightweight division. Like we said, finishing up from there, This is where I want you to come in. And I want you to explain this. So Oven St. Preux beats Mikhail Oleksiejczuk.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he just lose to somebody? Oleksiejczuk? Did he lose to Johnny Walker?
No, I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think so. I don't think so. Think of Nikita Krylov.
Nikita Krylov. Okay, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But so you didn't see this fight. I'm assuming because you're at school. But OSP starts off really slow. Nicole starts off really strong. He's throwing huge bombs at OSP. Even dropped OSP in the first round.
Mhm.
And for a second, it's like OSP, man, the road he's taking, going from being a former title contender to now losing maybe 3 losses in a row.
Yeah.
Turns it around in the second round, and is able to get the Von Flue choke again. We're probably gonna call it the OSP choke at this point.
That man is talented.
Can you please tell me why people fall for this Von Flue choke? I do not understand.
Okay, so we all know that any type of choke that's a blood choke tends to cut off the arteries, that bring blood this way, into and around your body. So you're cutting off oxygen flow, right? What the Von Flue choke is, it's two people laying perpendicular, right? So you have a guy who is on, down, and you have the person on the attacker to the defender are perpendicular. So that's like, across again. So the person who's in side control, the attacker, is able, in a normal side control, when you're putting just regular pressure, if you're putting pressure and applying pressure down with your shoulder, you notice that your shoulder lines up with someone's neck, right? Now, when to initiate the Von Flue choke, the purpose is to drive your shoulder and cut off circulation while maintaining a hook under the back of the head, and then having your arm on the having your not your arm, sorry, your head going down on the opposite side, or driving towards the other side of the person's body. So if you're on the right side, you're kind of going to the left, and if you're on the left, you're kind of going to the right with your head. But bottom line is, for a Von Flue choke to work, you have to have your shoulder in place onto the neck. Not like just pointing onto it, but you have to be able to cut off circulation. And so once you're able to do that, you can get a grip, and then one of the most common grips here is a clasp, just like this. So you see how this arm would be under the head, and then this arm would be under the opposite side, so the left arm, or and under the shoulder, to clasp like this, and you drive your shoulder into the person's neck, cutting off circulation. With your hip down, drive right now. One of the key points about the Von Flue choke is it happens in the event of someone fails to let go of your neck. So when people go for guillotines, the issue sometimes is that people tend to just try to hook a guillotine in. But if you get taken down, and someone kind of passes guard into side control, and that person on the defender on the bottom doesn't let go of tried to let go of the neck, and that's the issue, because they think they can still hold on. What will happen is that the person who's attacking, their head goes into this little crevice here, and then you're already in position of side control, and you've already pretty much have the Von Flue choke. So this position alone of not letting go of your arm behind someone's head initiates the Von Flue choke in regardless. So because Oleksiejczuk, I'm sorry, I mispronounced his name. I have to really go see how to say it.
Call me.
Because he failed to let go, or because he was probably trying to get up, or maybe he was trying to get his back towards the cage and wiggle his hip out to brace off the cage, or try to stand up, because OSP, his knowledge of the Von Flue choke is amazing, and he's a strong big guy for 205. What he did was he just applied it's really just the applying of the pressure. That's it. You're right at that point where you're in that position. You have the position. That position is already secured. So it's really a matter of applying the pressure, and then you should be able to lock in that Von Flue choke.
It's freaking interesting that this guy has 4 Von Flue chokes in his career in the UFC, and it's like they give it to him and he just takes it. He just takes whatever they give to him, man. And he's kind of like what's another person a heavyweight? Alexi.
Who's the ones who's landing the Ezekiel chokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same guy. Same
Yeah.
thing. They give him the positions, and he just takes them.
Yeah.
It's a small few of people that's able to just know positioning and timing, and just knows when that arm is there, just to go at it, just go at what they give them.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So
It's hard.
it's interesting. It's so interesting. He bounces back from a 2-fight losing streak to
Yeah.
Peter Krulov and Dominic Reyes. I want to see what OSP goes through. He's 36 years old. I think a fight against Kusalabra makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I think that
That's
fight
fair.
makes sense.
That's fair. It'd be an interesting fight.
But yeah, I want to see OSP go to 36 years old. Maybe he still has a lot more left in the tank.
Yeah. Huh. He's a good contender, you know. I think he's strong. And that's the thing. I think he can still get the job done, but he definitely has to show some, you know, the will has to still be there because it's hard. 2 losses back to back and then a win. He has to be a little bit more consistent. But you're right. I think he still has it, and I think he's a tough matchup for a lot of people still in that division.
And he's lost to he lost to some good fighters. He lost to Glover Teixeira. He lost to John Jones of all people. He lost to Gene
Yeah.
Boy, he lost to Volkan Ozdemir. So he lost against a lot of top ranked guys. You
Yeah.
want to see if Volkan Ozdemir, he beat some incredible. He beat Corey Anderson at one point.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
want
a testament to this guy's skill.
you want to see if OSP could get back into being a ranked fighter against this new lightweight division where there's so many contenders and so many prospects.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting.
All right, so finishing off this main card, Nicholas Dalby beats Alex Oliveira 29-28, clear decision.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought Dalby was able to control Oliveira, was able to out strike him in the clinch positions. He was able to take Oliveira down, and that was weird because the referee at the time he had a couple mistakes. One, Oliveira was on his back at one point, I think in the second round, and he goes for an up kick
Yeah.
as Dalby's on the ground. And so they take the position away from Dalby.
It's
And
interesting.
Oliveira lands a right hand to end the round.
So yeah.
It could have maybe not, but it could have potentially hurt that fight.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And then Oliveira in the third round, he takes Dalby down, and then the referee takes that position away from him. And then Oliveira would try to go for a second takedown, couldn't get it, and then Dalby was able to control him there for the rest of the third round.
That's I gotta go back and watch that fight.
So it was very, very interesting to see how bad the ref was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dalby wins. That's good. He's former Cage Warriors champion at one point recently. So that's good to see. But here's my biggest thing about this fight. You've heard my problem off air, right?
Yeah.
Alex Oliveira was recently alleged to have had a domestic dispute with his, I think, baby mother or whatever, and kidnapped his son. And you've had zero mention of that in this fight week.
Yeah, you didn't hear about it at all. I didn't even. I forgot.
And I'll pull up the article here. I have the article here right next to me. ESPN Mark Romani, credit to him for this article and reporting on this. I believe it was May of this year, May 27th, 2019. The ex-wife of Brazilian welterweight Alex Oliveira said he took their 5-month child away on a motorcycle while intoxicated, as well as punched her, pulled her hair, as the local police precinct chief Andre Lourenco told Brazilian outlet UOL over the weekend.
It's just I totally forgot. You're right.
It goes on to say that Lourenco told MMA Junkie, another credible outlet, that Oliveira's daughter was found safe with one of Oliveira's sisters. Oliveira was not located over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
An arrest warrant will turn up if he did not turn himself in.
Wow. The brother was in some trouble.
I guess to fairness to Oliveira, his team said that they deny all claims and that this didn't happen. But my problem with it is I did not see a follow-up to that report. And he fought on this card, and credit to Naked Gambler on Twitter,
Yeah.
he's the person that pointed out that this guy in May had this big dispute, and not a word has been said about it since.
No, I totally forgot. I didn't even realize.
And I didn't forget. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm looking at Oliveira. I'm looking at, hey, did this guy have this huge problem going on?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling that, in past episodes, you've heard my stance where if you have these issues where we're going to say, look at Greg Hardy. We're going to say that domestic violence is wrong and that we should constantly remind you that domestic violence is wrong. I'm all in on that. I have no problem. But Alex Oliveira just walked into the octagon. Not a mention was made that he kidnapped his daughter, allegedly kidnapped his daughter, and beat up his
ex-wife. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's
not a freaking word.
I think, but you told me about the Greg Hardy thing will probably be brought up again when he fights again soon.
Yeah, you'll 100% hear Greg Hardy and his domestic violence. And listen, I have no problem with that. If that is the stance we're taking, I'm with everybody. But we have to call a spade a spade. Some of this with Alex Oliveira not being called out, but allegedly kidnapping his daughter and beating up his ex-wife, and not a word has been mentioned since. That's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem. Again, they need to take this stance where if that's the case, they need to be 100% with all their fighters or nothing with any of their fighters.
And I don't know if this is a case of maybe MMA outlets, they just want to, and we're a part of MMA outlet at this point in time. We have a show. We talk about MMA for a living. But is it just because Greg Hardy has a big name or John Jones has a big name or some of these other people they have a big name that they were constantly reporting it instead of looking at certain instances where you have an Alex Oliveira who's been stable in MMA for a while now, has fought on cards, has made evented cards with the UFC, and not a word that was not mentioned about this whole case.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I found passionate about it, but goddamn, not a word was mentioned about this thing. And it was, and just reading about Alex Oliveira, alleged, it's all alleged because I didn't hear a follow up to this at all by anybody. But allegedly beating up his ex-wife and then
taking his daughter
while intoxicated on a motorcycle.
That's a little wild. Little, that's an understatement. That's a lot.
Like, come on. Not a word was mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, brother.
Not a freaking word. And it just upsets me. It really does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that whole entire card, that whole entire fight, I just knowing what I know, I had a hard time.
Yeah.
I had a hard time being impartial. Let me tell you.
That's a lot. It's just too much. It's just too much. I think again, you're right. They need to be uniform with how they deal with their fighters, or they need to understand that they need to treat their fighters equally. But what's interesting is that although UFC did give Dana White and everyone in UFC, they themselves aren't talking about the actual cases for these fighters, but it's the media.
In the media, I've heard nothing.
Yeah, the media tends to be subjective, in my opinion, instead of objective.
But credit to Mark Romani for reporting on the article in the incident in May. And credit to Naked Gambler on Twitter for mentioning it. But it bothers me a little bit that nobody even mentioned that, hey, this guy had this whole incident in May and nobody's talked about it since.
Yeah.
So, but Dalby wins either way, unanimous decision. And that rounds out our main card. A couple of just key things from the fight, the event. John Phillips beats Ellen Medowski by 17 seconds. He gets his first win in the UFC, so good for him. He's now 1-3 in the UFC. He lost to Jark Marshman, he lost to Kevin Holland, he lost to Charles Bird, so this is his first win in the middleweight division. So good to see him back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Giga Casey wins split decision over Brandon Davis, who was a tough opponent. It was controversial because the scorecards messed it up in the beginning, so they had to fight. They had to fight as a draw.
Yeah.
When it's supposed to be a decision win for Giga, but he looked pretty good. He's 8-2. He's 31 years old. It was his UFC debut. A lot of UFC debuts in this event, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's a former Glory kickboxer. He's in the featherweight division. He's somebody looking out for. Let's see where he goes from here, because his striking looks pretty damn good.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Lena Landsberg beats Macy Chiasson.
Yeah.
Decision.
Kiasi?
Yes. I can't pronounce it. Chiasson.
Wasn't she on the Ultimate Fighter?
You know what she was? She was supposed to be a featherweight, and she said, "Nah, I'm not fighting Cyborg. I went back to bantamweight."
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't dispute that.
So again, that featherweight division and that the UFC tried. You can't say they didn't try. They tried.
They did.
But yeah, Lena Landsberg beats the Elbow Queen, beats Macy, outworked her from round 2 and 3 to get a good decision. And Mark DeCasey beats Linda Venata. I think that was worth mentioning. DeCasey looked the best he's been in the UFC. Mature, technical, landed 4 takedowns in the fight.
Interesting, because he's flashy. After he got stopped by my boy from Australia or New Zealand, sorry. What's his name? Oh my gosh. He fought Barboza and lost, but then he's gonna fight.
You can pull it up.
I'll pull it. Yeah, go ahead, talk. I'm gonna pull it up.
But yeah, but on DeCasey, he looked
Dan Hooker. Sorry.
There you go.
Dan Hooker. After he fought Dan Hooker and got beat by submission, he had to change his game.
Yeah, and he looked pretty. Listen, I like how he fought this time against Leonard Venata, who's also a flashy guy. You would think it would be just 2 guys just being, artsy in the octagon.
Yeah,
but it was literally just a technical fight by Mark DeCasey. He was landing leg kicks that hurt Leonard Venata early on. See, his leg was black and blue towards the first round, and it compromised Leonard Venata. So Leonard Venata couldn't land those spinning heel kicks that he likes to do, or really put power behind his strikes. DeCasey looked really good. DeCasey looked really, really good. I want to see what's next for him.
Exactly. I think he's getting more mature when it comes to the fight game. I'm interested to see that too.
And the key thing there is
That's impressive.
Oh, your mic is cut down.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's impressive. I'm excited for how his career is going to go from here on out.
And last notable mention, Jake Shore, one of the performance of the night winners. He beats Nolan Hernandez. This guy is an undefeated bantamweight. He's 12-0. He wins.
Continue talking. Let me go get my charger. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just noticed my computer's dying.
Yeah. So Jake Shore wins, beats Nolan Hernandez by rear naked choke. Round 3, he was able to take him down in the first, take him down in the second, take him down in the third. You would always see towards the end of the round, he would get the back position. It almost looked like he was going to end with the rear naked choke. Third round, he's able to finally get it in. I'm really impressed by this guy. I want to see where he goes from here in the bantamweight division. What's notable about this is, one, he's an undefeated bantamweight. He's 12-0. He has 4 wins by knockout, 7 submission wins, 1 decision. He's 24 years old. He was a former champion at Cage Wars. He defended his belt this year.
What are we talking about?
Jake Shore, one of the performance of the night winners. He actually opened the card.
Yeah.
And at bantamweight, 12-0. He seems like he has it all. He's a former Cage Warrior champion. He's 24 years old. He's about to open up his own gym, I believe. I want to see where he goes. Yeah, I want to see where he goes.
That's actually pretty dope.
Yeah, I want to see where he goes from there. It's a UFC debut. He has championship experience as well. I'm interested. In this guy.
Good stock. We can invest in that.
In a bantamweight division, which Wisconsin keeps growing and see more contenders coming on, undefeated fighter, former champion.
That's what UFC is looking for. If we're being honest, those are the guys.
And 24, so he's super young.
Yeah, very young, but
Yeah.
definitely sounds like he has a lot of experience.
Yes. I was saying he was able to to fight. It was a good back and forth fight. Jake Shore was able to land a little bit more than Nolan Hernandez.
Uh-huh.
After every round leading up to the third round, he was able to end with him taking the back of Hernandez.
Interesting.
And in the third round, he was able to finally get it and wear on Hernandez. Over the course of the rounds,
Uh-huh.
and then get the rear naked choke. So it's very 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 impressive.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. But that pretty much rounds out our UFC Copenhagen card, man. It was a
Yeah,
good card, a lot of good
good card.
gyms, a lot of good people you could look at in the future. Like Jake Shore, like Ian Cutelabra.
Mark Dykes making a comeback in the lightweight division.
That's right. Jared Cannoniers is now
Definitely the standout.
is going to be a big problem in 2020 to see what's next for him.
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns is on the rise at welterweight at 33 years old.
Yeah.
Neil Magny makes sense for him. And it's just a good card that just it's not gonna blow your hair back by any stretch of imagination, but
Yeah.
it shows you a little bit of a blueprint for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So I had no problem with that. I enjoyed the whole entire card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see the Spence and Porter fight?
No, but I saw that Errol won by split decision, which is interesting because I couldn't say for one who would win that fight, but they unified their welterweight titles, and I say both guys did a good job. I was watching highlights. I only watched the highlights. I didn't watch the full 12 rounds. I watched the
Yeah.
highlights. It was good.
So here's why I bring it up. So this leads directly to my second conversation. Before we get out of here, do you have the zone?
No.
I don't either. And here's my problem. Bellator was on the zone yesterday, and we text each other like, hey, isn't there a Bellator card on today? Is it Patricio Pitbull defending his title?
Fighting. Yeah.
Fighting
Yeah.
Juan Archuleta?
Yep. Then you
Is
have
it
Masasi versus Lyoto.
AJ McKee's on that that should have been the most highlighted card of this weekend. It had a title defense. It had two legends, middleweight legends fighting.
Yeah.
Legends. It had all this. It could have been all this buzz towards the fight, this card, and I didn't hear zero buzz from
Yeah.
Bellator.
I think what actually had more Bellator's fight card they had on Friday had more buzz than the one on Saturday, in my opinion.
And even that was a problem. That was on tape delay.
Yeah, that's the issue. Because there's a lot of guys from SBG were fighting on that card.
And Benson Henderson fought Miles Jury. That was called
Oh
Jury's
yeah,
fight in Bellator.
in Bellator, yeah, and Benson Henderson won by unanimous decision.
But here's my problem, right? I feel like this DAZN and Bellator partnership is not working out the way they were hoping.
Yeah.
Because you're putting Bellator behind a paywall that originally started out $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
And now it's $19.99 a month for a Bellator card that not a lot of people gonna go towards.
Yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, Bellator. I think their events are more popular than their pay-per-views for DAZN. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people don't have DAZN. A lot of people will have ESPN Plus though.
Exactly, and that's when we talked about earlier in our episode, we talked about ESPN Plus, how great it is now. It's not just UFC; you get other things as well. You get boxing, get for $5.99 a month. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But DAZN overcharged you $19.99 a month. Again, in the streaming era, where so many things are out there, you got so many bills you're paying for subscription wise.
Yeah.
That do you really need DAZN? Are you really going to put up $19.99 a month for DAZN? And is that it's a lot, man. And I feel bad for Bellator.
Yeah. They're in a predicament, so I think it just needs to get better for them.
But it's not even like DAZN has, and this is me airing my grievance out with DAZN. It's not like DAZN has constant great programming. Like ESPN Plus, say what you want about it. Say what you want about the service. Say what you want about the experience of it. They have a lot of catalog. They have a
Yeah.
lot of catalog. If you want to watch old boxing fights, what I love to do, you can go watch that. NASCAR, they have that. They have football on ESPN. They have UFC on ESPN. They have talk shows on ESPN.
You see
All
that?
these,
Yeah.
all these great things on ESPN Plus. The Zone does not have that much, not that
Well,
much. What do you want to call it? IP.
I think no. You know what it is? It's just they have to. Their content is limited in comparison to ESPN
Yes.
Plus, in my
Yes.
opinion. Their content is just, and that's just because ESPN as its own conglomerate is huge compared to DAZN. You know what I mean? So that's just
Yeah.
it. I think until they have to just this is one of those things where they have to, because then it's not that they're lacking, they just don't have as much content, and they could be lacking, but they have to just get creative with the content that they have, which is why I think the zone is good, but they have to come up with a better way to market these fights, because people, as for the average fight fan, maybe I'll buy it, but like for people who aren't average fight fans and just kind of want to see one fight, what purpose does it serve, you know?
Yeah, and with the Zone, my experience with the Zone, you'll probably get one or two good events in a month.
Yeah,
But that doesn't justify you paying $19.99 a month for the Zone. You know what I mean? There'll be times where there's a huge layoff of just like big events,
yeah,
and you wonder why am I paying $19.99 a month for a program I'm not even using.
yeah,
So it's just mind-boggling that a card like what they had, it probably didn't get a lot of views. It probably won't get a lot of traction, or you don't hear enough buzz about it, just because it's behind a paywall.
yeah.
But so I chose, instead of watching that Bellator, I watched Errol Spence and Sean Porter, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah.
It was a great fight card. I thought the main event delivered.
Yeah.
Uh, Errol Spence beat Sean Porter by decision in a way I didn't think it was going to go that way. I thought Errol Spence was going to handle him. Honestly,
Yeah.
I
Nah,
didn't.
Sean Porter, he was in there.
Yeah, he was in there. He was in his space. It was I would say one of the toughest fight Errol Spence has had. Where
Yeah.
Sean Porter is making it a grueling fight, and Errol Spence is able to get the best of it and prevail. So I think the next fight has to be Errol Spence versus Crawford. I think that's the
Yeah.
next fight. I think that's the next fight.
I'm interested.
Yeah, but Sean Porter has a great. I mean, Errol Spence has a great. He beat Mike Garcia, and I beat Sean Porter. He's on the rise.
I think he needs to be what's his name? He was just on Joe Rogan's podcast. I think he's like the greatest welterweight right now, in my opinion.
I think he's retired though.
No. You know who I'm talking about? Dark skinned dude?
Yeah, he retired.
You sure?
Yeah, man. Andre Ward.
No.
Andre Ward.
Errol Spence, Andre Ward is definitely retired, but he's middleweight. Andre Ward was middleweight. I'm
Yeah.
talking about welterweight. You know who am I talking about?
But
Damn. Yeah, Crawford.
Yeah, I said Crawford.
Oh, my bad. I couldn't hear you. I think my headphones are bugging out.
I
Crawford.
think
He needs to
I'm
fight
talking about
Crawford.
going up and wait.
No. Don't go up and wait. That makes no sense. Have
No,
him fight
let's see
Terrence
Andre Ward.
Crawford.
Let's see Andre Ward
Have him
versus.
fight Terrence Crawford. I would love to see that fight.
No, I think that should be the next fight.
Crawford is the skill that man has is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would love to
I'm
see
impressed.
that
I'm
fight.
impressed. I'm a very big fan of Bud.
Me too.
Very big fan of Bud.
I think he's one of the best boxers in the world right now.
I truly do. I think so too. I truly think so.
Yeah.
That
But
man is talented.
Errol Spence is getting up there, man. He's really,
He's coming into his own.
I had Mike Garcia beating Errol Spence, and then ever since then, it's Errol Spence is just he's amazing.
Yeah, no, he definitely made Mikey Garcia not look like the usual Mikey Garcia.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I watched that over watching Bellator just because I know what I'm getting with that. It's a one-time thing. I watch, I get my money's worth, and with the Zone, I have ESPN, I have Hulu, I have Netflix, I have WWE Network, which is great. I have Funimation, I have all these HBO Max is coming out. DC Universe, Disney is less than I think 2 months away now.
Yeah,
it's a lot, man. I think the Zone's fighting an uphill battle.
It's just interesting. Yeah, but it's a good thing to think about, though.
And honestly, before we get off on this note, ESPN is doing a bundle package,
Yeah.
so you could get ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus.
Oh man, that's
So,
gonna be a
so
game
when you're
changer.
so when you're fighting against that, the Suns gonna have a tough time.
That's gonna be a game changer. It's
Yeah,
gonna be a game changer.
it's gonna be a tough time. So hopefully the zone can figure it out and Bellator could get some more buzz. Chris Cyborg and Julia Budd was announced.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the buzz is just not there for the zone and Bellator.
No, it's not.
So we shall see, sir. The next card is going to be Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker. Do you have any final thoughts on that fight before we get there?
No.
Really?
Wait, do I have any fight thoughts on? Sorry, this card. Sorry, repeat that again.
Robert Whitaker and Israel Adesanya is this Saturday. Do
I
you have
don't.
any final thoughts?
I don't know, man. That's gonna be such a great fight. Like the excitement I have because
I don't know.
remember there was that one point in time where Robert Whitaker beat Clint Hester, and I was like, he's nice.
Yeah,
He beat Stephen Thompson, if I'm not mistaken. No, he got TKO by Stephen Thompson, I think. Or did
yeah.
he beat him? I don't know. He beat Clint Hester, and then he beat Derek Brunson. And I was telling you, it was like, yo, Tyreece, this motherfucker right here, he got hands. He got hands. And then he fought Jacare,
Yeah.
beat Jacare. And I was like, yo, Tyreece. And he was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't see that happen in that way. And I was like, yo, he is going to be the champ of this division. Fought Yo Romero, beat Yo Romero on one leg.
Beat him
Second
twice.
fight, much more close. Much more close. I truly had it split decision for Whitaker. I understand if it was a draw or a split decision for Yo Romero, but Yo Romero didn't make weight either.
Beat Romero with one hand, apparently.
Beat Romero with one hand because he broke his hand.
Yeah.
So, and it's just the string of injuries when it comes to Robert Whitaker. But
Yeah.
Robert Whitaker he's fought some really great fights and he's talented. But then you have Adesanya, who is just to most people in the middleweight division outside of the top 10, he's truly a striking god. Like that man is able to catch people with, and it's not like he's throwing flashy spin and shit. He's not tapping you in the sense of like just tap, volume. He's catching dudes and hurting them, slipping in, out, boom, boom, tap. It's just impressive. So truly this Saturday is again, as a fight fan in this generation, there are certain fights that make a generation, and I think this is one of them. I truly think this is one of them, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but do you not feel the same?
You're not wrong, man. I'll be at your house watching the fight. It's looking to be a sellout stadium show, so that's
A
impressive.
Marvel Stadium.
That they're about to sell that out. And man, this fight is just so big. We talked about the middleweight division before. This is
Yeah,
so big from this end 2020 on. Really sets the stage for a lot. Israel Adesanya has been on this rise for maybe less than 2 years at this point,
yeah,
and he's just came on and became a champion, and now he's on. If he beats Robert Whitaker, he's going to ascend to superstar status to where Conor McGregor was at. He will get there.
yeah.
I think he has the crossover ability, and if he beats Robert Whitaker, and that's a big if, he could be that huge crossover star.
He
Like
can.
this like before the Kevin Gastelum, that was a moment. This is the big moment to where the UFC, you have a mega star on your hands.
It's just no, dude. You have a big just
But
my
Robert Whitaker's gonna be in that way. And I credit to you. You have been talking about Robert Whitaker for a long, long
I'm telling you,
time.
I was like, yo,
Way before he was a champion, way before he really was making any traction in the middleweight division. You were talking about Robert Whitaker, and I credit to you.
I I may not make I make some corrections, some predictions that are right, some that are wrong.
Yeah.
For the most part, I can tell just how people fight. Like if they can break into, how their course. I'm not gonna say I can tell how people's fight careers are gonna go, but like you can tell where there's like certain people like they may have it, they
Yeah.
may have it. Then there's some people you can't tell and they surprise you, which is even better. But I was like Robert Whitaker, he's a little bit different. He's touching you. He's not uncoordinated. His striking's a little bit awkward, but not too awkward, where it's just like not the same. It's just he's able. Once I realized he's able to follow up with the same side for attacking, that
Yeah.
changed the game. This
Yeah.
man can throw. This man throws a jab. He throws his left jab. Those are they're usually it's the left jab, right high kick, right? But he can do
Mhm.
the same with the right jab, left high kick. He can do the same with the left jab and left high kick, and then right jab and right. Like this man, I just think he's so good. He's so good. But then Adesanya, after watching him dismantle Derek Brunson and after that Gastelum fight, it's just that man got heart. That man got heart.
That's
That scene in Baby Boy. Oh, you got heart, huh? You got heart. That man got
that
heart.
that's key though. I think the point you just said before, the Kevin Gastelum win is the one I think prepares him for this Rob Whitaker fight. I
It
think
does.
I think it's a perfect fight before he fights Rob Whitaker because Kevin Gastelum and Rob Whitaker is almost the same, but Robert Whitaker uses more angles, but still has the same power, still have that same that build, that power and stuff like that. So I think Robert Whitaker is going to have angles against Adesanya. I think he's going to be able to show Adesanya things he has maybe seen in the
Yeah.
UFC at least before. Ultimately, though, here's my prediction: I think Adesanya wins this fight.
Unanimous or stops him.
You think he stops him?
It's fair. It's fair.
I think he stops him.
Fair.
I think if you want to give me a round, don't put me on the burner. Um, I say give me round give me round three.
Okay.
Give me
I
round
say
three.
I say I haven't decided yet. I'll tell you my fight prediction the day of. But as of right now, if I had to say, I'm going Whitaker by unanimous. Sorry, I'm going Whitaker by split. I don't
Mm.
see Whitaker. I don't know if Whitaker stops Israel, but I think Whitaker edges him out. I think Whitaker does. I think either Whitaker wins by unanimous or by split. I think he's gonna just do a little bit more. And
Here's
the thing about Whitaker in comparison to Gastelum,
mm,
sorry, I had on pizza earlier. Whitaker is a little bit lighter on his feet than Gastelum.
yeah.
That's the thing. But you slow down, and so does Adesanya. So I think whoever slows down first.
No.
I
No,
think
I
whoever slow.
disagree. I disagree. I think Adesanya, you've seen it in the Gastelum fight, that pace never stops.
I just said I think whoever slows down first loses. That's my point. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
say I didn't say
Okay.
anyone. I said I think whoever slows down loses.
I think if it goes Cardi, I think I'm gonna go with Adesanya. We've seen in the past where Robert Whitaker he's facing Yoel Romero twice, and you've seen in later rounds. He has to dig deep a little bit, but we've seen him
Well,
slow
he
down.
has to dig deep, but it's also because when you're dealing with Yoel Romero who throws bricks at you with
Yeah.
every single jab, it's a little different than a guy who's like Adesanya. Don't get me wrong. Does he have that pure one punch knockout? No.
No.
But does he have the power to stop you? Yes. He can stop you with a series of combinations, but he won't stop you with one punch.
And
I
he'll be
mean,
in your
the
face.
only time we saw that was Derek Brunson, and that's because they had to stop it because he was getting clipped a lot.
Yeah.
But again, he's in your face, he's tapping you. Robert Whitaker, I think, does a better job with people. I think he does a better job when it comes to people who can knock him out with one punch because he's able to recover and like hold on than he can with people who would throw combinations. But the issue with Whitaker is you have to catch Whitaker. And at the same time, one of the best things about Whitaker is he's always throwing something to try to get you off your timing. And so whether that could be a high kick, low kick, jab, he's always the put. I think the push kicks are good. We're going to see them, but I think because Israel's so tall, at some point we're going to see him catching those. But I think we're going to see some teep kicks, some push kicks, definitely some leg kicks from Whitaker, and I would not be surprised if we see a takedown. I wouldn't be surprised if we
Yeah.
see a takedown.
Yeah, I think I was going to say that in a second. I was going to say that the key to that fight is, and I think we've seen it. That's what I said. Gaslam's a perfect example. Um, Whitaker can take you down. Whitaker
Yeah.
could take you down. I believe he actually was gonna try out for the Olympics at one point in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's somebody that is not a wrestler.
Yeah.
But Adesanya has shown, and I think he's going to improve on this as well, is that he has good takedown defense, and if he's on his back, he has some moves. So that's interesting. So it's going to be really
Yeah.
interesting to see how that fight goes. I got Adesanya winning. It's not going to be an easy fight. I think he's going to get clipped by Rob Whitaker early on, and I think it's going to be Adesanya's going to take over and then win by knockout.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
All right.
All right, so we'll do a recap show of that card next Sunday. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right, man. I cannot
All right.
wait. Joker comes out this week. UFC event. It's gonna be a great week.
Let's just go ahead and Kobe versus Kamaru, December. I'm happy.
Three title fights that card actually.
3.
Yeah.
I think what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time to be. That should have been the MSG card. Just saying.
It should have. I think before I let you go, since you brought it up, Holly Holm is not fighting on the Adesanya card. That hurts.
Because she pulled out. She pulled out with an undisclosed injury.
Do you think that hurts the pay-per-view a little bit?
Yeah, because that's Holly Holm's a big name, regardless of whether she lost to Amanda or not. That's a big name still.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been good to see her back in the same stadium that she beat Ronda Rousey in.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for hopping on here. I know you're tired. I'm tired. I'm gonna see you later.
But do your thing, man.
All right, man. Talk to you later. This has been MMA Renegade. I'm Tyriece Simon.
Elijah Jones.
And we are out. Have a good day, guys.